What's up, guys? I'm Youngster Skaymore, and I'm back with another Pokemon Sun and Moon news update. Now, I've made a lot of videos in the past few days just because we got that brand new trailer on Monday. In addition to a Japanese trailer, we just got a bombshell of information. So I've been waiting to cover this since that day, but I had like 3 other videos, so I didn't want to overload you guys with videos all in one day. But now, the day is finally here, where we're going to be talking about the leaks. So, obviously this is a video about leaks, so if you don't want to know about any leaks that are pretty much confirmed at this point, then don't watch this video. But I mean, I recommend, well, I mean, you don't have to, I guess, yeah. So if you don't want to see any leaks, then don't watch the video. But if you are interested in seeing leaks that do seem to be true, then, well, keep watching, and thanks for watching. And if you're, I don't know, I'm going in circles here. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so all the leaks that I'm covering today, I have covered in the past, but obviously there are new developments since some of these leaks have been proven true in that new trailer that we got on Monday. So, without further ado, let's go over all 3 of them. All 3 of the leaks that I've covered in the past. The first leak was that Chinese... Okay, I'm just gonna... First is a summary of all the leaks. The first leak was that Chinese leak. It revealed the starter evolutions. It had... Sorry, I'm kind of sick. It had the starter evolutions, and it had the image of them all. And it had a bunch of other information. And it was proven that it had some credence because it predicted Salandite's reveal. And that it predicted that, what's his name? Rockruff could evolve into a werewolf before that the Pokedex entry hinted at that. The second leak we had was the leak that predicted bond abilities, which is what he called them, and then that trailer came out, which what we are now know as Z-moves, but he predicted how those would work. And the third leak was the one that predicted the names of Beware and Mimikyu, and then he predicted a bunch of other stuff too. So now we're going to go through all those leaks, see if anything turned out to be true, and see if the leaks are still credible or not. So anyway, let's go to the first leak, the Chinese leak. They had the starter evolutions. By the way, if you wanted to see the starter evolutions really quickly, we got Littens right here, we got Rowlets right here, we got Popplios right here. So those are the leaks that this, I'll go back to them in a minute, but those are the evolutions that this leak predicted. So this is actually an update of the leak. It's a better translation of the original one. I covered this new translation as well, but just in case you only saw the first video of me covering these, sorry, I'm kind of sick. As I said, this is it's a little bit of a different translation, most of the same information. So this leak predicted that there would be a fire poison lizard before Salandite was revealed, and I said this, and I said that it predicted that Rockruff would become a werewolf, and this is what else it said. Gym leaders are replaced with team captains, and the Elite Four will be replaced by island leaders. After the league is established, there will be an Elite Four. So as we saw in that trailer on Monday, there are team captains in Alola, and they weren't called island leaders, but it's known that there will be something called kahunas, and there's one on each island, and they're essentially the leader of each island, and you can fight them after you've done all the trials on your island. And so, and we know that the kahuna of Melee Island is Hala. So this league is all but confirmed. They completely called this, in addition to some other stuff already. So, while we don't officially know that gym leaders are gone, and this leak seems to prove that there will be no gym leaders in this game. It is they're going to be completely replaced by team cap. They're actually called trial captains and they were called trial captains in the trailer, but this calls them team captains. But I think that he just kind of mixed up the names. Like he still seemed to pretty much call this. So I'm going to assume that this is true. This whole leak is true. He said, there are no gyms and there is no league. One plot point is that the professor guides the hero in creating the league. So we already know that there's the Island Challenge, which basically just you try to be the best trainer on the island and then the best trainer in the region. So maybe after you become the best trainer on the island or the best trainer in the region, the professor is like, hey, you're a really good trainer. Maybe you can create the Pokemon League. So like a lot of these other regions have Pokemon League, maybe you could create one. So I think this is really cool. I'm just really happy that Pokemon's changing up the formula. I love this. Next it said, the new wristband allows all abilities to become stronger and can load Adventurine stones according to the game version. There will be a lot of these stones. You need to collect them. I think that's a little bit of a mistranslation. And some Pokemon can only transform with the Adventurine stones. Ash Greninja relies on this mechanic to transform. Okay, so this is a little weird. It's a translation, so it makes sense if they aren't exact. I can only go back to the original leak. Where is that? I don't think I have that actually pulled up here. Oops. I'm gonna find the original leak just to see how it differed. Chinese. I think that should come up. Not to confirm it's true. I want the original one. Here it is. So what did this one say? Oh yeah, this one didn't have. Yeah, so I guess this one just has a little bit of more stuff than new trailer. But it says a new wristband allows. Yeah, so this is a little bit weird. This is not does not match up exactly with the trailer that we got Monday, but I think it may have been a bit lost in translation. It said you can load adventurine stones according to. I'm actually confused. So, on the wristband, we know that there are Z moves, and we know that there are 6 Z crystals that can be placed in your wristband. There's also one other slot for a stone available on like the bottom, which we all assume is for Mega Stones, but I honestly really don't know what to make of this, because there's definitely no such thing as adventurine stones that we know of. But it says some Pokemon can transform with adventurine stones, and that's what Astro Ninja transforms with. So this is a little bit weird. We know that there are Z stones. We have never heard of these adventurine stones. So if anything, that goes against this league, because that's just not what we saw. But they completely called like team captains and the Elite Four being replaced by island leaders. So I still believe in this leak, but this is a little bit of a weird thing. I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. So maybe you'll be able to use adventurine stones as well. I doubt they would be called that. Probably a bit of a mistranslation. Because I don't think they're talking about Z stones, because maybe it's talking about Z stones, because it says all abilities. Maybe it says the new wristband allows all abilities to become stronger. I think it means that by moves, but it doesn't allow all moves to become stronger. It's like a move. It's like every type of move there's a Z move for. So I don't exactly know how to make of this, but it does say that Astro Ninja will be in the game. So I don't know. Take this what you will, but I gotta think that this guy knows what he's talking about, because he completely called the other thing. But I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. But yeah. You know as much as I do. Anyway, next up, basically every Pokemon can be ridden with a new riding feature, and as we now know, there's this thing called Pokey Ride, where there are a bunch of Pokemon that can be ridden, including Stoutland, Charizard, Tauros, Lapras, Sharpedo. Although, to be fair, Lapras and Sharpedo have been able to be ridden in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And Lapras can be ridden in X and Y. But they can actually now like break rocks and like do other stuff like that. But it says basically every Pokemon. That does not make sense. I think that's a huge exaggeration. Like, basically every Pokemon. I talked about this before. It doesn't make sense if it's every Pokemon. That just makes absolutely no sense at all. But I guess a lot of Pokemon, like a lot more than before, can be ridden. And he said basically every Pokemon can be ridden, and then it was revealed that a lot more Pokemon can be ridden, so not exactly sure. So that seems to be a good amount of credence for him. Next up, there are a bunch of unmarked places on the maps known as districts, in which there are really tough Pokemon known as Overlords. So this is a little bit weird. We didn't hear anything about unmarked places on the map, but we did know that there are, what are they called? Because of the T, something, you know, Totem Pokemon. There are Totem Pokemon, which are essentially wild Pokemon that are like the leader of an area. So they're essentially like Overlords that you have to fight in order to finish your trial. And they didn't mention anything about being unmarked places on the map. When I originally read this leak, I thought it meant like unmarked islands, but I think it just means like places in the islands that they just don't have names marked on the map. Maybe, I don't know, because we know that one of the places where we fight a Totem Pokemon, where you fight Totem Laurentis, that's in Lush Jungle, I think it's called, or something like that. So maybe that's not marked on the map. I'm not exactly sure what to make of this. So he seems to sort of be on base with like the Overlord Pokemon, but he doesn't have the correct name. But that's because it's probably a translation thing. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of this, but man, this leak is all over the place. And it says Rockruff becomes a werewolf, which obviously seems to be likely, because then the Pokedex description was revealed, which makes it seem like he'll become a werewolf. And it says Rowlet will become an archer, Litten will become a wrestler, and Popley will become a Siren. I don't think this says the art might be good guesses, but that doesn't. This is not the translator speaking. This is just the other. This is not like the leak speaking. This is like the translator speaking. And I honestly disregard that. Obviously, they both say the exact same thing. Either they're both fake or they're both real. Because the pictures came out, if anything, that came out before or at the same time as this. So, the picture, by the way, I'll show you guys once again. This is the proposed starter leaks. Oh, but these... Oh, another thing, that these are pretty much proven to be true, but I'll get to that at the end after going through this. So that would give this a bunch more credence, because those pictures are pretty much proven to be true, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So, we got... there'll be a Mushroom, Snowman, Rugby, Football Monkey, Sea Cucumber, and Dolphin Pokemon. So we can honestly expect that there'll all be new Pokemon like this. Obviously, I don't know exactly what types they would be or anything like that, but there will probably be new Pokemon based on each of these things. And it says Marshadow is a new legendary Pokemon with a very special type. I don't know what it means by special type, as I've said before, but I'm gonna guess this is probably true. And also, Marshadow was a trademarked name, but so this is probably a good. This wouldn't, even if that came out as being true, that could just be a good guess because Marshadow was trademarked along with Solgaleo and Lunala, but it's a very special type. I don't know what it means by that. But then let's take a look at the starter art, the potential leaked starter evolutions art that came along with this leak. So here's the Popplio evolution. It's going to be Water and Fairy. The Rowlet evolution is going to be Grass and Flying. And then we got the Litten evolution. This thing is apparently going to be Fire and Dark, which I'm so glad. If this thing was Fire and Fighting, I'll be very pissed, even though it does look like a fighting type. If you look down there at the bottom of the leak, do you notice anything interesting? That's right. That girl there on the left in the concept art of these potentially leaked starters looks exactly like Mallow, who is now known to be one of the trial captains of the Alola region. Her name is Mallow. She specializes in grass types, but obviously, if this leaks were not real, they would not be able to completely correctly, 100% accurately predict what this girl in the game, who was completely unknown of, would look like. She has the flower in the exact spot. Her hair is exactly the same. Her clothes seem to be exactly correct. So this pretty much 100% proves these starter evolutions as being real. Otherwise, how would they have predicted what this girl, who is only being revealed now, what she looks like? So these leaks, as far as I'm concerned, are 100% real. It is possible that they could change the designs a little bit by the time the game comes out, because this is just concept art, but these designs are absolutely real. They definitely came from inside Game Freak itself, or whoever designs these things. And also, if you look on the bottom right of this image, you can see that Litten is twirling around what appears to be Litten's final evolution is twirling around what appears to be the middle stage of Litten's evolutionary line. So that we might know what Litten's whole evolutionary line looks like, which is pretty cool, I have to say. I know a lot of people are disappointed in this, that Litten is not a quadruped, that Litten's final evolution is going to be bipedal, and I understand that. Delphox, if you feel that about this, that's how I felt about Delphox. I really was disappointed when Fennekin ended up being a quadruped, and I don't like Delphox at all. Bryson has grown on me a little bit, but I don't really like Delphox very much. And I cannot understand this. I think a quadruped Litten could have looked really cool, but I really like this thing. I understand those of you being, especially the middle stage, kind of reminds me of the middle stage of Tepig, whatever it's called, Pignite, and I don't like Pignite, but the final evolution of this is just so cool. I hate Emboar. I wish the Emboar line just didn't exist. I don't really like Emboar at all, but I do like this final evolution of Litten. I'm glad they didn't make it a firefighting type. That would be a very bad decision. Let's take one quick more look at Rowlet. I love Litten's final evolution. I love Rowlet's final evolution as well. I'm going to be on Team Rowlet. I was on Team Rowlet since the beginning, and these starter final evolution leaks confirm that I'm going to be on Team Rowlet. I love this design. I think it's so cool. They even make its bow tie. Its bow tie is now used as a bow and arrow. That's insane. I love Rowlet's final evolution. I love Litten's. Popplio, I'm kind of not loving Popplio's final evolution. But you know what? I'm sure some people like it. And 2 out of 3 being phenomenal is fine for me. So that's the end of this leak right here. But then, as I said, we got this leak, which was about this guy. So those I don't know. I forgot to say. So yeah, Star Evolutions are pretty much real, and I would say the other leak is pretty much real as well, or definitely real. I don't know why I'm saying pretty much. Star Evolution is definitely real, and same with the other one. Even though it had some other stuff that seemed to be a little bit off base, I would say that's real as well. Now we got this leak. This guy came out a few weeks ago and said that he was fired from the European translation team, and he said that the game would feature a new feature called Bond abilities, which are basically an ultimate move Pokemon can achieve when your soul bond gauge is entirely filled up. The bond abilities are stored in bond gems you acquire through the story and can equip to your bracelet. And then he said some other stuff that none of which has been confirmed is true. So this is a little bit weird. I don't really know what to make of this. So he said that it would get a new feature, and he predicted that it would be a feature where you're able to basically use an ultimate move with your Pokemon via gems that you can equip to your bracelet. However, and also he said it would be revealed in a trailer next week, and the trailer came out 6 days after this leak. Or actually, it might be 6 or 7 days after this leak. So he said trailer next week. Did he say trailer? Yeah, so he was right about that, and he was right about it being called about being basically an ultimate move and write about being stored in these gems, but he has the names wrong. They're not called bond abilities, they're called Z moves. They're not called, and they don't seem to be activated when your soul bond is filled up, or gauge. It seems to just be able to whenever you want. I guess we don't know that. We don't know. I was under the impression that it was just you could use them as long as you and your Pokemon are each holding the stone, but maybe you have to, maybe it's not like this thing you fill up and then have to keep filling it up every time you want to use it. Maybe it's just once it's filled up, like that's the level of your bond with your Pokemon, and then you can just always use them once for battle. So I guess that could be correct. But and then they're stored in bond gems, but they're not called bond gems. They're called Z crystals. So either he knew I don't know what to make of this. Maybe he saw a little bit, like he got a glimpse of these Z moves somehow, but he didn't know that much about them. So maybe he like saw this trailer somehow, or like a little bit of it, and then he just like made up the rest of this, because like half of that is wrong and half of it is right. But then he said that the trailer also features 2 new Pokemon called Capybara and Giorilla, and he said that it's a water normal beaver that can copy the ability of Pokemon battles, and a ground fighting gorilla with a very menacing look, and neither of those Pokemon were in the trailer. Then he also, so like that doesn't, I don't know what to say, because he got a little bit true, but then some of that did not come true, and then on the bottom he also says some more stuff, but most of it is stuff we already knew of in another leak, and then he has like one new thing. So honestly, I've got to say that this leak is not really true. Maybe he must have known some information to predict what he calls bond abilities, but what we call Z moves. But I think he didn't really know that much. He just like saw some of that trailer, and then he made the rest of this fake leak, like in order to try to seem like, because he knew a little bit, but he wanted people to think that he knew a lot. So maybe that's what happened. Also, but the thing that catches me off guard is how he predicted that it would come a week later, and that's when it came. So I really don't know what to say to the rest of this stuff. And but those other 2 new Pokemon didn't come in that trailer, and he got a lot of the names wrong. So I don't know if this is true or not. This leak, the rest of the stuff he says. But the thing is, it doesn't even matter that much, because it doesn't even say that much other new stuff. He says there's 90 new Pokemon. You can put any number. Like that doesn't. Okay. Then he says Rowlet evolves into Robbing Root, but then he says he basically just says what we already saw in the Star Revolution leak before. So he says Rowlet evolves into Robbing Root, a big owl with a green hood, which uses its wings as an actual bow. It's grass flying. Then he says Litten becomes Panther, a fire dark thing that looks like a gangster and a wrestler. And then he says that Popplio becomes Entermaid, a water fairy, mermaid like Entertainer Seal. He also says Lily is the daughter of a villain, a leader of a rich company which had built an artificial island to conquer nature and make Alola a more touristic paradise. In fact, its role is to catch all 4 guardians of Alola to make the absolute tower and grant himself the power of a god. So this doesn't make sense to me. Like I just am confused. But I don't know. I'm so confused. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if Lily's gonna be the daughter of a villain or not. Honestly, I'm glad I don't know that, because that's like a major plot point, and I don't want that to be spoiled for me. But the thing is, I actually am hoping this. I'm sort of hoping that this thing is false, because while I loved those starter evolutions, I hate the names he gives them. Robbing Root, okay, that's an okay name. Panther is a terrible name. And Entermaid is a horrible name. But then he also but now if this leak is false, we don't know, or maybe even if it is true, like we don't know if this is true really. We don't know what the types of those potential starter those confirmed really. We don't know what the types of those confirmed starter evolutions are, because I was assuming that they were what this guy said: grass flying, fire dark, and water fairy. And while I'm still very confident that the Rowlet evolution will be grass and flying, we don't know that the Litten's final evolution is fire dark. Litten's final evolution theoretically could be fire fighting, and that would not be good. We do not need another fire fighting evolution, Game Freak. There's 18 types, 17 other than fire, and I guess 15 other than fire, water, and grass. It shouldn't be that hard to think of another secondary type. It doesn't need to be fire fighting every single time. So please don't make it fire fighting. I hope you make it fire dark or something else. If you don't, if you make it fire fighting, I'm just be really disappointed. And then Popplio being water fairy, I think that's what it should be. Like, please make it water fairy. Game Freak, please do that. But I think this guy just looked at that art and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna pretend that I know information and I'm gonna say what types they are. But I think he was just guessing based on the art, because the art had already came out. So yeah, I don't think this is true, this leak, most of it. I guess he knew maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But anyway, am I recording here? I am. Let's go to the 3rd leak, which this leak reveals the most. Not this. No, is it? Yeah, this leak reveals the most information, I think. Like, the most, I don't know, actually, I would say the first leak does, just because it has the starter evolutions, including concept art, which is just, like, incredible. But this leak, so this guy goes on. He mentioned this is like sort of a collection. Like this is just a summarization of the leak. It isn't like the leak itself, but it summarizes the information much better than the actual leak. So this guy, he goes on to say, he talks about the first Chinese leak, but then he's like, okay, so here's what happened. This other guy, by the way, I did cover this leak just like I covered all the others, but this third guy, before we got the English names of Beware and Mimikyu, he said, beware of fake leaks. Mimikyu, like most Pikachu clones, keeps its Japanese name. Then when someone said, what about the bear? They said, there's a hint in my previous post. And clearly, he said, beware of fake leaks. That was the hint. And by the way, he also said that most people will be disappointed in the name of Beware, which I was, including many other people. So he basically completely called that. But this is not new information. We already knew this. But then, let's look at what his leak said. His leak said that there are actually no gyms, which is like similar to the first leak. They said there is more than one evolution for Rockruff, including a werewolf. So more than one evolution, that's pretty cool. And then he says, Yungoose's evolution is fat and hairy. So we saw Gumshoos in that last trailer. It is fat and hairy, I would say. It isn't like too fat, but it can definitely be described as fat and hairy. So a little bit more credence, not a lot, but because anyone can say that, but like a little bit. Okay, I'll give you that. Time works differently in each version. We don't know anything about that yet. He says, there are new forms of old Pokemon which are not Mega Evolutions, but more along the line of Shellos/Wormadam. He misspells Wormadam, but whatever. Another chunk of information suggests that these are a few Oh, this is not the leaker talking. This is the summarizer, whatever, the summarizer. That there are a few Pokemon that will get new forms, such as Butterfree being Bug and Psychic, Rattata being Dark-type, Nidoqueen and Nidoking being Poison and Fighting, Ninetales being Fire and Fairy, Growlithe line being Water, Abra line being Fighting, Doduo line being Fighting and Flying. So, this guy completely called Alolan forms, which we got in the last trailer. His information was a little bit off, but he said there will be new forms to old Pokemon. He only mentions Gen 1 Pokemon, so it seems that these new forms, Alolan forms, are only going to be for Gen 1 Pokemon, because also in that trailer, we only got it for Gen 1 Pokemon. And he says that Ninetales is going to get one, but he says it's going to be Fire and Fairy. So it actually ends up, Ninetales' Alolan form actually ends up being Ice and Fairy, so I guess he had his information a little bit wrong, but still, he completely called Alolan forms. You gotta assume that this leak is completely true. It's just like, you can't call that without, this leak's definitely true. So now we can assume that all these Pokemon are also going to have Alolan forms, which is awesome. I love the Alolan forms so far. I want there to be a lot more. Hopefully there's a lot more than this, and not just like limited. It's not just limited to this. But now that we know this leak's pretty much true, I'm just going to go back up to the stuff that hasn't been confirmed yet. So there's more than one evolution for Rockruff, including Werewolf. This would be really cool. And by the way, someone suggested an idea that it could be based on what starter you chose, because one of the Korokoros, when Rockruff was revealed, said that Rockruff and the starters share a secret. So maybe, depending on which starter you choose, it will have a different evolution. And the guy's like, and then someone said it could be like Rock Ground, and then some other guy said it was a leak, and he's like, it's Rock Ground if you pick one of them, it's Pure Rock if you pick one of them, and it's Rock Fighting if you pick one of them. But he didn't have any credence to his leak. I think he just made it up. But that is a good idea. Like he based it off of this. So there is a very good chance that something like that could happen, because they said that Rock and the Stars share a secret. So I think there's actually a pretty good chance of that happening. Then it says time works differently in each version. I have no idea what this means, but I guess it sort of makes sense, because Sun and Moon, like, those are two things that can tell you what time of day it is. So maybe, yeah, I don't know exactly how they would do that, but I'm sure that, like, it's not just going to be always daytime in Pokemon Sun, always nighttime in Pokemon Moon. That'd be ridiculous, but I don't really know how this would be. I think this is kind of weird, but I don't really know. I have no idea what this would be, but anyway. Let's look at some of these new Alolan forms we're apparently getting. Butterfree being Bug Psychic. I love that. That works. Butterfree isn't the greatest Pokemon. Could use a nice little new boost, maybe a new ability. And and a lot of people like used Butterfree back in the day because I had confusion. So Bug and Psychic actually makes sense for this Pokemon a lot. Then we got a Dark type Rattata line. That would be sweet. Rattata and Raticate. They're kind of these boring normal type rodents with fangs. But if they were Dark type, I can imagine them making this line a lot edgier and a lot cooler, and hopefully more useful. Give it a good move set, some new abilities, some nice new stats. Hit me up with my boy Raticate. Just kidding. I remember, funny story real quick. I remember in Gen 4, which Pokemon Diamond was my first Pokemon game, I went to the post game, which Pokemon Gen 4 are the best post game by far. except for maybe you can argue that Gen 2 is better post game, but I like Gen 4's post game a lot. Then you go to this other area. I forget what the island's called. Then I went on the first route in that area, and I found a Raticate. I don't know if it was a trainer that had it, if it was wild, but I was like, this was a brand new Pokemon to me, and it was very cool. But anyway, because I had not played later on in my life, very soon after that, I played Fire Red. That was my second Pokemon game, but then obviously I knew what Raticate was. But anyway, Dark-type Raticate would be awesome. We got a Poison and Fighting Nidoqueen and Nidoking. That would be really cool. Fire Fairy Ninetales, well, that's incorrect. It's actually going to get Ice and Fairy Ninetales. So I guess you guys' information a little bit, his information is not spot on, so I guess a lot of stuff in this leak we can't take completely, like, this won't 100% be true, but we can take it like 95% be true. Maybe he got some details wrong, because this is actually Ice Fairy, so maybe some of these typings are also incorrect. But imagine a Water-type Growlithe, or an Arcanine. That would be insane. When I first saw this leak, I'm like, what? How would they do that? That'd be so weird. But we just saw an Ice-type Ninetales and an Ice-type Sandslash, so it's definitely possible. Because Ice is like opposite of Fire, and like Water is opposite of Fire as well, so it'd be pretty weird. But I mean, if they're doing it to Ninetales, they gotta do it to Arcanine, right? I don't know. I'm just really excited to see a Water-type Growlithe and Arcanine. That's gonna be really cool. We got a Fighting-type Aberline. That kind of seems to be copying Mega Mewtwo X, but whatever, it can still be really cool. A Fighting and Flying Doduo line. I love that. I hate that all these birds are normal and flying. Why is Doduo and Dodrio normal and flying? A three-headed bird is not normal. It shouldn't be a normal type. It should just be flying. But now they're making it fighting and flying, so that could be really cool. I'm just imagining like a Dodrio with boxing gloves or something. I don't know what it will look like. He says Pokemon transfer from the Virtual Console releases will have pre-Gen 6 typing/stats. And now what this means, which was confirmed in the official trailer, is that if you bring a Ninetales from the previous games, it will still be a Fire type. It will still have the stats of regular Ninetales. It doesn't mean that if like a Pokemon's attack got boosted by 10 in the new generation, it will have the old one. That's not what it means. Like, some people are like so confused because like sometimes they'll like I remember in Generation 6, I think Pidgeot has like 10 better attack than it does in Gen 5 and before. But like, that's not what it means. It just means it'll be the original version. It won't be the Alolan form. So yeah, but you can only catch. It seems that you can only catch the Alolan forms of Pokemon. They confirmed that you can only catch. Or at least they confirmed it about like Executor. No, I think they confirmed it that. Like, if there are Pokemon that have Alolan forms, you can only catch their Alolan forms in Alola. Otherwise, you have to transfer them over if you want their old forms. The Stone Bracelets have nothing to do with Synchro Evolution, so, this is weird. I don't know. I think this guy is more spot on than the first guy. The first guy knew what he was talking about, but he has some details messed up. He says, the Stone Bracelets have nothing to do with Synchro Evolution. This makes sense, because the Stone Bracelets are Z moves. We know that now. But he says Ash Greninja is in the game. So Ash Greninja's in the game, but it has nothing to do with the Stone Bracelets. So the other guy, maybe he just, the other guy said Ash Greninja was in the game too, but he said it was like with the bracelet. So maybe he was just incorrect about that. I don't really know, but he had the starter leaks where, I don't know. This is a lot. If he got the other stuff correct, so he's gotta know what he's talking about. I don't know, guys. I don't need to explain this more. Like, you know as much as I do. So just tell me what you think in the comments. It says SSN appears in the game, so I don't know. Will that take us to Kalos? I've been saying this whole time, I want to go to Kalos. I want to go to Kalos. I want to go to Kalos. Maybe the SSN will take us to Kalos. That would be awesome. Some people say, someone in the comments said maybe we'll go to Kanto, which is possible, I guess, because there's a lot of Kanto stuff. There's a lot of Kanto stuff here, such as the Alolan forms of Kanto Pokemon. Maybe we'll go to Kanto, and that's where we can catch the other forms. But, I don't know. I want to go to Kalos, man. I really want to go to Kalos because a lot of the stuff was left untied, such as Zygarde, and we're getting new Zygarde forms. I don't want them to be shoestringed into Alola. I want to go to Kalos to experience that. Please. It's larger, but not by much, amount of brand new Pokemon than last gen. This is like, I'd rather have some more. I'd rather have like 90 to 100, but it says larger, so hopefully it's at least 70 or 80. But I'd rather it be up to like 90 or 100. So that's kind of up to interpretation. Like not by much, does he mean by like 5 or 6 or like 10, or does he mean like 30? So I don't know. Hopefully it's around like at least 90. But we're also getting all these new Alolan forms, which are like new Pokemon. So I get it's pretty awesome, and I like Alolan forms much better than I like Mega Evolution, as I've said before, because they don't seem to be broken, and they're reasons to use old Pokemon, and you can use more than one per team, and you don't get them only in post game. You can actually use them in game. So awesome, love those. Looker, Cynthia, Blue, Zinnia, AZ, and Lance all make appearances. So AZ and Zinnia appearing could give some credence to going back to Kalos. I mean, Zinnia I know isn't in Kalos, but she had a lot to do with the Mega Evolution storyline, which also had a lot to do with Kalos. Then AZ as well obviously had a lot to do with X and Y's plot. So maybe we'll go back to Kalos. But then there's also going to be Blue appearing, and Lance, who are from generations like 1 and 2. And then we got Cynthia and Looker, who are from Gen 4, but Looker's been in like every generation since, so that's not a surprise. But I don't even know. I don't know where all the. I guess Cynthia will probably just make like a cameo. That's pretty likely. Maybe there'll be a new like Pokemon World Tournament, like there was in Black and White 2. I don't think so, but that would be awesome. Hopefully, maybe they would do that, like with, like maybe after you beat the. Ooh, you know what? You know how one of the leagues said you could set up a league, a Pokemon league? Maybe you can hire people from like around the world to come and like compete in this Pokemon league. It's not just for Elite Four. It's like a whole giant tournament like it is in the anime. That would be awesome. But probably not the case. My chin is itchy right now. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Furfree's haircut can be changed in the new Pokemon Me. This would make sense, as we can tell. Pokemon Me is new, as we saw in the trailer. It has like a blow dryer and stuff. And it would be inconvenient for them to have to make a Furfree shop in every Pokemon game. So this makes a lot of sense. Because you should be able to cut your Pokemon's hair, right? So this makes perfect sense. Although I don't really care that much, not a big change. Some of the new forms for old Pokemon will get new animations, mentions the Aberline. And we saw this, for example, with Executor. But I guess by he means some of them look very different, like Executor, and some of them look similar, just have a little bit of differences, such as Vulpix and Ninetales, or Sandshrew and Sandslash. It seems as if like they have like similar models, just like a little bit of differences, as Executor is ridiculously different. Like Executor is like 36 feet tall, while the original one is like 6 feet tall. There's a flying type bird whose appearance varies on each island. Another thing, proven, Oricorio in the last trailer. One for each island. We got Fire Oricorio, which is the best Oricorio. We got Electric Oricorio. We got Ghost Oricorio. And we got Psychic Oricorio. I'll rate them right now. Fire, Electric, Ghost, Psychic. Ghost and Electric could switch. I like the Ghost one as well. I don't know. Maybe the Ghost one I will like better eventually. But Fire one, oh, I like him the best. He's awesome. We got, there's a 2-stage cat Pokemon that is normal when captured, but will inherit the father's primary type as its second type when hatched, and the color pattern varies by type. This is awesome. I mean, it confirms breeding and will be in this game, which we obviously it would be. I just hate breeding, so that kind of saddens me. But I do love this idea. This is incredible. If there's going to be breeding, I want there to be this idea, and it seems pretty much proven because the leaks are pretty much proven. So I'm very happy about this. I love this idea. What did I just? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, you can. I think I might have unplugged my mic for a second, so sorry. Then we got, there's a, oh my gosh, that's just such a cool idea. And imagine it's going to like have a different color scheme for each one. It's going to be like the new Eevee. It's going to be better than Eevee. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Eevee. You just got outclassed by this new cat thing. Wow. Shoot. But I mean, I guess it's the same Pokemon. It's not like it evolves into 18 different Pokemon. It like looks a little bit different. Kind of like Oricorio has a different, it's like a different form, I guess. But I don't know. It's kind of like Eevee, except cooler, I think. I don't know. Eevee can be cooler, but I can understand thinking Eevee is cooler, because Eevee is actually different Pokemon. Well, this is probably going to be all the same Pokemon, but different form. I'm curious if it's going to be a different color scheme, or if it's legit going to have a different design, like the Oricorios. Then there's a snowman-like Pokemon, as was mentioned in the Chinese rumor. So this does have some overlap with the Chinese rumor, which seems to confirm a lot of that, too, even though that sort of confirmed itself. And it says it is an Ice and Ghost-type Pokemon. That's 2 stages. So, Frosty the Snowman was melted, and now he is haunting people, like the ghost of the snowman came to life, said happy birthday once more, and now is roaming around the world as a Pokemon. So that's awesome. That's all the leaks we got for today. I know none of them are new, but what the heck is happening with my mouse? Okay. Hello and Slowpoke. What is this? Is this a new thing? Oh, no, it's just an idea. Okay. Oh. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Why? Stop popping up. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to, you know, cover all the leaks, like, pretty much all those leaks except for the second guy. I gotta say are confirmed now. I don't know about the second guy, how he got his information, because a lot of what he said seems to be not true. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, when more news comes out on Pokemon Sun and Moon, I'll do a video on it like I've been doing. I don't know, guys. I'm just so excited for this game. I'm sorry I made this video so long. So much stuff to cover. If there's any leaks that happen and you want to let me know about them, always feel free to do that in the comments below. A lot of you guys have been really helpful with doing that. If you want, what the heck just happened? Why am I getting beeps on my? Hello? My mic is still plugged in. I don't know what's going on. Stop scrolling down, mouse. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.